So here is a bicycle tire. We're going to use a similar technique with path deform. We're going to work with a circle as our path. Okay, let's make it 35 centimeters radius, which is about right for a standard wheel. I am going to create a section of tyre and duplicate it. So let's create a box, something like this. And we're going to use that to wrap around the wheel. I'm going to convert it to editable poly. And I'm going to delete some of the polygons that we don't need. So we're going to have the tyre rim, we're going to have the other edges of the tyre, and I'm going to, let's just rename this as tyre section. Okay, now I want to make two clones of this so that I can see how well it joins up. So I'm going to press shift and drag to create instances. Now if I do it this way, instance, they're not quite lined up perfectly well, as you see when I zoom in there. So if I want to get them lined up correctly, I'm going to turn on my 3D snaps set to vertex, and now I'm going to press shift and drag with that vertex point selected. You can see we get this little attachment constraint. Click on that and go OK. That now is lined up correctly so that I can weld together and I can get a better result. Let's try doing the same process once more. Hang on. Once more with feeling. Okay, let's just do it this way. Okay, so we got 3 instances, and because they're instances, if I start pushing and pulling verts about, they're going to work like that. Now that's fine if I'm just doing it on one side, but in this case I need to do it on 2. So let's take verts on both sides. Okay, there's my master copy. Do something like that. Now, okay, this is the one we want to work with. So anything I do in here is going to affect the others there. So let's try putting in some more geometry. So I'm going to select the edges here, and I'm going to do some connecting. Gets me something like that. Let's now go to polygons. Let's inset by group. Something like that is interesting. That wasn't what I intended to do, but it can work. Inset by group gets me that. And I can do whatever else I want to with this. So for example, if I go to 1 for verts, let's go to the front view, I can start pulling things down. So what I want to do is create repeatable divisions. Doesn't matter what you particularly do because it's a case of what kind of a tyre you want, but this should get me a start. Let's go down the middle and connect. Let's do something like that. Okay, so this little section is going to give me my tyre. Really, I'd want to do a bit more to make it more like a tyre thread, but I just want to go through the principles of it at this stage. Let's delete the clones now, and we can make as many copies of these as we need. Now, I know if I make about 3 copies of these circles, should be enough for me to get in the length of the tyre. So if I wanted to make enough tyre sections to go the full way around, I'm going to go again, press S to turn on my snaps. I'm going to shift and drag. This time I'm going to go copy rather than instance, and I'm going to put in, let's try 40 sections. Gets me that. That's about right. S to turn off my snaps. I want to join all of these bits together, so I'm going to click on attach. Find all the tyre sections and attach. Now, where the chain links were made up of separate individual pieces and were okay to be that way, a tyre is a contiguous surface. So we want to weld any verts that are joined up together. So if I select verts such as there, you can see I've got 4 verts where I should have two selected. So let's select all of those verts, and I'm going to bring up my weld, and you can see if I adjust the settings of this weld, so set the distance down to 0, I've got 1025, start bringing them up, and I've got 1025 is down to 825, which means that any verts that are occupying similar space are welded together, and my tyre is now one continuous object. Finally, I'm going to use my path to form. So let's get rid of the 2 stray circles. Take my tyre, going to use my path to form modifier. Click on the path that we're going to use, which is the circle. Again, we need to adjust the axis we're going to use. My x-axis is like that. My rotation in this case needs to go to 180. And I'm just going to use my stretch to join my tyre together. Now, if I'm still having problems joining it with the stretch, what I'm going to do is a little bit of a cheat, which is I'm going to go and put an edit poly modifier on top of the whole thing and do some target welding. Edit poly, and now I can target weld verts. To make the whole thing join together perfectly. Target weld. Go on. Let's do it in, yeah, okay, that's where I made the mess with the target weld. Let's undo that. Target welded the wrong geometry. Aegis. Target weld from there to there. Now you're talking. There to there. Etc. And that will do me for a reasonably okay tyre in nice lurid green. Let's put our material on it. looks like. Okay, that's a bit boring for a tyre, maybe not as accurate as we need, but the principle is what we're talking about, and that's sufficient to explain how to do it. You can spend more time modeling your tyre.